The Breakfast Club continues this morning on News Talk 1450 KFIZ, and we're going to bring in author Jim Crines, who has a new book out called Bench Jockey. It's kind of an anthology of articles that he has written. I'll let him explain it. He's written for the Brewers Game Day magazine and such. Good morning, Mr. Crines. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Mr. Bates. Nice to have me on the show, I should say. I'm happy to be here, and it's nice that anybody's talking about the Brewers these days.
Hey, you know what? They are what they are, and they're not playing as terrible as they were in April, but we'll see what happens as we head down the home stretch of the season. But you have kind of an anthology of articles that have been put into a book, Jim, called Bench Jockey, that are tied to the Milwaukee Brewers in a certain way. First of all, explain before we kind of go deeper into it what Bench Jockey is all about.
Sure. Bench Jockey, as you mentioned, is an anthology of 38 stories written for Game Day magazine, which is, when you go to a Brewer game, they give out the free magazines. And it used to be a really big magazine back in the day, and you remember those. But now they're just really kind of a smaller magazine, and there's articles on players and, just things surrounding the Brewers. And that's what my specialty was. For 20 years, I've been writing articles for the Brewers. My first article was turning over a major league locker room on getaway day. The A's were coming in and the Sox were leaving. And I spent the night up in the old chalet at County Stadium during a game. And I also ran the sausage race and did a bunch of stuff around Miller Park that people just wouldn't get an idea of unless they read about it in a different source. And major newspapers, you get all the stats, you get the summaries, the player's batting average, but rarely do you get a chance to see behind the curtain, so to speak. And I think that's what I enjoy doing most. And I write news, I write sports, but I always enjoy, in whatever I write, getting behind the scenes, asking questions that are rarely asked.
Exactly, and this is kind of a great way to highlight the different types of things that are tied to Major League Baseball, not just the players, Jim, but if you're a kid out there that wants to be involved in Major League Baseball, everyone can't hit 350 and hit a 400-foot homer, but there are ways that you can be involved in big league baseball.
I think so, and I think that's kind of exactly what I tried to get across here, Wade, is that dreams are dreams, and have your dreams, but also have a plan B, which would be to recognize your strengths, recognize things you can do, and still be part of a sport or a part of any business that you dream of. And I think that it's always important to have that plan B and finish your education and be ready to take on a different role if you have to. And I think some of the articles, as I mentioned, 38 stories, a couple of my favorites, and you remember Jim Abbott. Some kids today may not remember him as essentially a one-armed man in the major leagues. I think he pitched a no-hitter. Was that with the Yankees, Wade? I don't know if you remember that.
I know he pitched a no-hitter, but yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was with the Yankees, yes.
Now, if that's not inspirational, you don't have a pulse. And I think that there was an old pitcher named Dave Baldwin who went on to become a physicist, and then there's Mark Ciardi, who pitched for the Brewers briefly, but he went on to produce $1 Million Arm that just came out, and he produced Secretariat, and he produced Miracle on Ice. So I want to show that these men and women in the book have gone on to things that they enjoy and feel part of the game. Nancy Jorgensen, ticket sales, all sorts of things. And I do a piece on the locker room attendance. There's a piece on Robin Yount, and there's a piece on the 82 Brewers with their reunion. So I cover the gamut, and I think that there's something for everybody to at least get a taste of the major leagues. And you and I have been in enough locker rooms that we know that's one dimension of it. But I also think that it's important to touch base on the other side, so to speak.
Talking with Jim Crines. His book is called Bench Jockey. Jim, you did all these, you mentioned off-the-beaten-path type articles. Was there ever an article that maybe you looked at, you said, hey, I'm going to do this on this certain person or this job in the ballpark, and not really knowing what direction you were going to go with it, and then when you finally got to talk to the person and learn about it, you're like, hey, this is really, really cool?
Yeah, I think I pride myself on going a different direction. When I talk to the players, I always kind of start with a question that kind of hits home in terms of a personal sense. Like, with counsel, I'll ask something, what was the last book you read, or something to catch them off guard, and then right away you develop a different relationship with these guys and women. You go about it, and when I interview musicians, famous musicians, I'll come about it in a way that hopefully generate a laugh or generate a way for them to feel closer to you from the get-go. And you never know. I never know what I'm going to write until after the interview. And if I go in with a blank slate, I never script my interviews. I go in with some knowledge, but that's not the same as scripting an interview. So I go where the conversation takes me, Wade. If somebody wants to go in one direction, you know, in Randy Wolf's case, he was a big Star Wars fan, and I think that shows a lot about that person. And I think now you can connect with him more now because you know something he enjoys.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like I said, you mentioned, you can go anywhere and find out, you know, about what players think off the field, but you know, articles like you write, you kind of learn a little bit something you probably aren't going to find anywhere else, unless you saw it in, I guess, the game day program, and now you've kind of put together this anthology of your favorites, Jim, and the book is called Bench Jockey, and you mentioned that you were telling me off the air that all the proceeds from this are going to go to charity?
Yeah, I'm doing a signing for the Chinooks game, if anybody up there is down here, this August 3rd, and all the money there is going to Capco. And as I said to you before we went on, that, you know, this is not about me making money, because these are just, you don't make money in this industry when you write books. I have several novels out there, and you do it because you love it, which, again, speaks to what the whole book is about, which is doing something you love and don't expect rewards. And if you get them, great. If not, enjoying what you love. And I just want to say how this has been on the back burner for years. I just didn't know if people wanted to read this kind of stuff. And as I told an interviewer the other day, that if you pick up miss a newspaper or magazine issue, you miss a lot. So what I thought would be interesting is to bring things they may have missed to the table, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is, and it's a really good book. Like I said, you gave me some excerpts. You gave me an advanced copy here, and I looked at it a little bit. And it's fun, quick stories you can read. You know, like on your lunch break, you can maybe read one every day, Jim, and kind of walk away feeling a little bit better about yourself, and you kind of get a happy, positive story. You know, tied to one of our favorite teams, if not our favorite baseball team, the Milwaukee Brewers.
I agree. None of them are going to take you too long, just a couple of pages. So if you're not a huge reader, you're in good shape there, because a couple quick pages and you're done with each subject.
Hey, how can people get the book Bench Jockey, Jim?
Well, they can go on Amazon.com and just put in Bench Jockey, and my last name is spelled Cryns, Jim Cryns, Bench Jockey, and they can purchase it right off there. And if you happen to be in the area next Monday, I think it is August 3rd, at the Chinooks game, we'll be doing a signing there, and it's real exciting. I got to tell you, in closing, that every person I've spoken to in the media, including Tim Van Voren and Lance Allen and those folks, they're very excited about this project, and they've been very supportive. And I think that they all say, wow, I never really thought about it from that angle. So that's really an interesting aspect. Again,
it's a really cool book. If you know a baseball fan out there, if you're a baseball fan yourself, it's called Bench Jockey. And again, Jim, it's a great book, and I appreciate you giving us some time to come on. And again, how do people get the book?
Again, on Amazon.com, just search Bench Jockey, and hopefully it'll come up. And I hope you enjoy it. And again, like you said a minute ago, it's not War and Peace. You don't have to sit there for 25 hours to read it. You can read it during a break, read an article here and there. And again, share some with your kids, because I think that's what I'm trying to get out there, is there's more to life than just the limelight.
Hey, Jim Cryns, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to look forward to meandering my way through your book here. It's kind of exciting stuff from what I've read so far. Have a great day.
Thanks, Wade. Thanks for having me on.